Last year, one of the standout performers when it came to forgiving drivers was the Callaway Paradigm AI Smoke Mini Driver. I really enjoyed this driver. I love how we had the adjustable weight so you could turn it into a low spin bombing machine. I loved how you had the adjustable hosel so you could take that loft off it and try and get more fairways or potentially more distance. But today we have something brand new. This is the Elyte Mini Driver from Callaway's range of Elyte clubs. And it is of course an absolute stunner. So guys, I've played 18 holes today with this driver and I've got some absolute bombshells that I want to talk to you about because there's some good.
That is a delightful.
How good's that?
Shot, yeah. It's another bit of display today. It's another one. Fierce speed into it.
There we go.
Another one. It's performing well.
I feel like with this, the fairway just looks wider.
That's another fantastic drive.
The control on the ball flight is really good, isn't it? There's some bad. Nah, that's cutting. That's no good. Oh, that's left. And there's some ugly.
Old Jimbo's leg.
So, what do we think to this new driver from Callaway? Because one of the big changes they've made, you'll see, is this three-way adjustable weighting system at the back. I have it set in neutral. You can of course put it in fade, you can put it in draw, and we have a little 5 gram weight at the front there. So you still have that option of a low spin element. So I've already tested this for numbers and we'll talk to you about that a little bit later on in the video. But for now, let's hit a couple of drives and let's see just if this is a driver you should be taking seriously in 2025, if it's a driver that could potentially find its way into your bag in 2025, because one of the things I think Callaway have smashed this year is the look of this driver on top. You can see that carbon crown looks absolutely gorgeous. I think they should do away with the chevron on the Mini Driver. I think it'll look a lot more appealing to a lot of golfers, almost like a triple diamond mini. Imagine a triple diamond Mini Driver. That would absolutely be insane. But so the tee shot we hit earlier today on this hole was massive. I'll put it on screen now. It was really, really good.
It's another one. Fierce speed into it. Ah, oh,
that's up there, that
is
isn't it?
Long.
Let's see if we can match it with some more. Looks gorgeous in the sunlight here. Straight away, that's a really nice low spin drive up that left-hand side. And one of the big key elements that Callaway have featured in this new Elyte Mini Driver is that AI 10 times face. So the idea here is that we do have different kind of topology of sweet spots, so that allows us to generate ball speed on off-center hits. So you can see that I've just hit it ever so slightly out of the toe, but we're going to maintain some decent ball speed on that, which is really, really important for a club like this, because essentially what we are trying to do is maintain distance while hitting more fairways. Fairways is the key here. And if you see on screen now, some of the shots we've hit after this 18 holes of golf, they're really, really impressive. And one thing which I really want to do more on this channel is test drivers more in depth, take them out for 18 holes of golf and see just how they do perform. Let's go again. That low spin shot, I think, is really impressive. That's a carbon copy up the left-hand side of the fairway again. And again, that was actually, if we have a look at the strike location there, a little bit more out of the center. So really starting to hit some nice shots with this. Now, one of the areas which I think I'm a touch disappointed with is if we have a look at the bottom of both these drivers, so last year's and this year's, I really enjoyed the fact that the Paradigm AI Smoke had that adjustable weight system like front and back there. So we had the heavyweight and the lightweight. I do feel like potentially the Elyte driver is set out to be more of a forgiving driver because it has that weight system at the back. You can say that yes, essentially they're set in the same settings because we know that we have the heavy gram at the back and obviously the light at the front, but essentially I think people like to be able to flip that round and have potentially that little bit of a low spin monster. So potentially what I would have liked to have seen Callaway do here is maybe offer this with a weight kit, so you can have a lightweight at the back and you can have it in draw or fade, but then a heavyweight at the front potentially if you really wanted to kind of fine tune it to its nth degree, you could say. Whether or not that's something Callaway might look at in the future, potentially So, but I do feel like you've lost that ability to maybe have that low spin missile that the AI paradigm was. However, you look at some of the shots that I've actually hit today, especially down the par 5 into the wind, I've still managed to hit that low penetrating shot. So it's still doing what I want it to do. So is this the good, is this the bad, or is it the ugly? How good's that? If you can guarantee me a shot like that on the fairway of every hole that I play, I pretty much guarantee myself I'm gonna hit it close to the flag because I'm in play. And that means I'm gonna lower my scores. That means I'm gonna be a better golfer, which means I'm gonna be happier. So my family's gonna be happier. So really everyone's a winner, aren't they? And Bobby's gonna be happier.
You're gonna put double weights in it?
I'm not gonna put double weights in it, Bob, no, because that didn't work very well, did it? But I do feel like the weight system, if you had a little pouch with weights in, fantastic, wouldn't it? Now, although last year's model was one of the best selling mini drivers on the market, to be honest, I wasn't a huge fan of it. Now, it's easy to say that now because we do have a new version out, but I'd really enjoyed the technology. I think that they probably took that from the guys at TaylorMade, didn't they? Because the TaylorMade Mini Driver was the first mini driver to feature that movable weight technology in the front and the back. But also, I didn't like the sound and the feel of it. And a lot of people will not care about that. A lot of people watching this video couldn't care less about the sound and the feel. But I personally do. If you watch my channel a lot, you will know that I think it's important that a driver, especially that costs £400 or £500, performs well, but also looks good and feels good and sounds good, which is all subjective. So on the bottom, we've had a look at this already, but you can see quite a big difference there in just how these drivers are shaped. So the Paradigm AI Smoke does feature that kind of V technology. I'm not going to call it V steel technology because it's not a TaylorMade club and I probably can't, but that should help you on those kind of fairway shots. Now I have already hit a fairway shot with this today. Cut. It's a good strike. Like I said, we've played 18 holes with it and I hit it pretty good. Chris hit an absolute worldie with it. That's all over it.
Well, Robert, I couldn't hit that much better, my friend.
But it's a totally different shaped sole there, as you can see. So very interesting that they've decided to change that along with that weight technology. And then if we look at both of them down here, you can see that the AI Smoke had that kind of glossy carbon, whereas the Elite has that new sleek looking thermo-forged carbon crown, and that's made from aerospace grade carbon fibre, which is supposed to enable faster head speeds and optimise spin rate. But it actually looks like the Elite looks a little bit kind of maybe shallower in the face potentially. I don't know if it is. I don't know if it looks shallower because it's not got that etching on there, but the AI 10 times smart face, delivering maybe a little bit more forgiveness. I think the aim of the game here for Callaway is forgiveness. I don't think it's necessarily the versatility and the kind of low shots that we had with last year's model. But saying that, we're into a little bit of wind here. So if we get the forgiveness, can we get that versatility to hit a couple of nice low shots like that? Because that's the perfect drive down this hole. I've hit that really nicely. And one of the big areas for feedback for me with this new generation, the Elite Mini, even says Mini on there, look, quite like that little touch. It sounds phenomenal. It really does feel good, especially when you get it out of there. Like, it does just fill me with confidence. I think when we were filming the 18-hole segment earlier, I actually said, I feel like the fairways are wider. I feel like I can swing it that little bit faster.
Another one. It's performing well.
I feel like with this, the fairway just looks wider.
Oh.
Like I visually see a wider fairway. Now, when it comes to a driver versus a mini driver, we all know that there's different kind of speeds that we measure. There's club head speed, which is obviously down to shaft length and things like that because of the length of the lever. So you're not going to have as much club head speed with a mini driver as you would a driver, but you potentially could have as much, if not more, ball speed if you hit it more out of the centre like I've just done there. So if the ball speed's higher with a mini driver than it is a normal driver and you're more accurate with it, pretty much everyone's winning, aren't they? Can we go even lower than that? Can we play a bit of a more a stinger style shot? Another little slider up the middle of the fairway there. And I feel like this is a shot that I really enjoy playing with this style of club. I feel like I can attack fairways with it a little bit more, especially when we get into summer. Here in the UK, it's the 1st of April today. I'm filming this. I believe this video is going out tomorrow on the 2nd. But realistically, fairways are starting to dry up. Fairways are starting to be a little bit more bouncy. So you don't need that kind of real high shot that potentially has to carry all the way up there. You can hit that low one that squirms down there and then releases and runs. And even into the wind here, I feel like this is what I'm trying to do. But then if I want to, because that weight's at the back, I can hit that. So it'll be really interesting to see the difference in distance there, because both the first and the last shot were exactly the same line, but two totally different trajectories. So I don't feel like I'm necessarily losing out here because we haven't got that movable heavyweight and front weight technology front to back. Let's go and see where they've finished, and let's try and hit some off the deck as well, because I've already been in the studio with these, like I said, and the numbers were very similar. I don't think you're ever going to see totally different numbers from one generation to the next. I'll put them on screen now for you to see just how they did perform. And essentially the spin rate was maybe a little bit lower with the AI smoke. But do you need it a little bit lower? Could it just be the same, ball speed similar, and you're getting similar distance? Potentially. So guys, you can see, Bob, are you okay?
I'm absolutely freezing.
Bob's cold. But very, very similar. I believe the low one was the left one, and the final shot, the higher one, is the one on the right, both near the centre line of the fairway. That's exactly what I'm wanting from a mini driver like this. And I feel like this isn't necessarily a mini driver to try and be better than last year's AI smoke. I think it's a mini driver to target the TaylorMade mini driver. The TaylorMade mini driver has been a phenomenal club for years and years and years, and they really know what they're doing with this. Callaway last year was one of their first attempts. It wasn't the first, but it was one of the first more modern ones. I think this year could potentially be the one that really pushes whatever TaylorMade bring to the market in that mini driver category. I'm really pleased with them. The other one was just there. It just slid a little bit too much in the rough. So just how easy is this Elite mini driver to hit from the fairway? Because a lot of people will be thinking, James, why on earth would you have this in the golf bag? What would you take out? Would you take out driver? Would you take out 3-wood? And personally, I think it's a funny one because I'm a big fan of a mini driver. Probably, to be honest, probably too much so. And I would be taking out maybe the 3-wood and thinking, right, if I have a good lie here, even with 11.5 degrees, can I get this up in the air? You can see that's a nice flight. It's just cutting quite a lot. And potentially, if you are thinking about replacing your 3-wood, you might go a little bit more loft. You might go the 13 degree instead of the 11.5 that we have here. But I'm still quite pleased with that launch, still quite pleased with the trajectory. Just try potentially to not cut across it too much. Ground interaction was pretty good, to be honest. And that's a really interesting one because that one's a real low bottomy strike, but I bet it's pitched about 200 and it's releasing out all the way up to that green. Just because it's not pretty doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't work, doesn't it, Bobby? Exactly that. Right, one more. I really want to try and get this launching up in the air just a little bit. We're going to compare it to the AI smoke on the next tee. There we go. There we go, a little bit of practice, and you can see we've still had ground interaction there, still had turf interaction. We've even taken a bit of a divot, and you can see we've struck it nicely out of the middle of the club there, maybe a touch towards the toe. I think personally there, the ground interaction was better with last year's with that kind of little bit of a kind of V sole. So let's see how they compare on the next tee. So after 18 holes of golf with the brand new, not that one, the brand new Elite Mini Driver, what are my honest, brutal thoughts? Let's test it against the AI smoke. You've already seen the numbers against this. It was very, very, very consistent, very similar. I'll go AI smoke first, and we'll send some just down this 18th hole, because for me, I feel like if you're wanting a real mega low spin mini driver where you can hit really kind of low stingers, then this might still be the one, because you can put that heavyweight forward, you can really get it moving as you want to. You'll see here we've got 12 gram weight in the front, and then we've just got the 4 gram weight at the back. So this is designed to be a little bit kind of lower spin. I've also got it lofted down from the 13.5 to 12.5, whereas the Elite is the standard 11.5 head, which I do quite prefer. I prefer the look of the 11.5 head. But AI smoke, straight away, really nice drive, just cutting the corner a little bit on the left, and that's a really nice line to take down this hole. Now, let's try and hit exactly the same here and see potentially just what difference we do get, because although the AI Smoke potentially is the more forgiving driver, I feel, no, because although the AI Smoke is potentially the best lower spin driver, I feel like this is designed for that forgiveness element. And I feel like whoever is potentially spending the money on this, that's what they want. They want the forgiveness. They want to be able to get away with a few shots like you've seen today on the 18 holes we've played. So, without any further ado, that, it does sound miles better, doesn't it? And although the numbers might be similar and they perform very, very similar, I think potentially if you're in the market for a mini driver and you want to get a deal, if you can get one of these second-hand, potentially it could be a fantastic option. I really, really like the look and the sound and the feel of this, and it performs just as good. So I think potentially there's two fantastic clubs here. I know we've not focused hugely on the AI Smoke, but I'm really pleased Callaway have brought something out this year in that mini driver market, because I think it's growing. I think it's helping a lot of golfers as well. Let's go and see the difference on those two shots. And I think it's fair to say these two are very, very similar down that fairway. I do think, yeah, I got that. I do think that the left-hand one was the Paradigm AI Smoke. It was a little bit further left, it was a little bit lower spin. It's all going to depend on the bounce that you get on the fairway. But like I said, performing very, very similar. It's not performing any worse, which is good, and potentially it could perform a little bit better if you want that forgiving driver. Guys, get in the comments below, what do you think to Callaway's brand new Elite Mini Driver? Thank you so much for your time as always. I'll see you all at the same time tomorrow. Goodbye.